Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is Buy This, Not That Bronzer Edition. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about bronzers and what I look for in bronzers, and I'm going to show you some that I really enjoy, but there's also a couple where I'm like, is that exactly right for me? Maybe not entirely. So I have 5 where I'm like, is this 100% perfect? Maybe not. And then I have 5 where I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and this is exactly what I look for in a bronzer nowadays. So let me just get to it, because I think the concept of the video will become clear when things do go on. I did struggle finding 5 bronzers that aren't quite right, because I decluttered my makeup collection last March, and I think I got rid of pretty much everything that wasn't going to work for me. So I like all of these bronzers. They all work on me in some degree, but there are some that I feel are better than others. And these would be sort of like my bottom 5, the 5 bronzers that represent something that I feel only work for me sometimes, and they're not the best of the absolute best. And they actually all have the same thing in common, which is that they all have quite a bit of yellow to them, or like a little bit of orange to them sometimes. Now these are all shades that still work for me, so they're not like too orange or too warm toned, but that has been my main struggle with bronzer over the years. You can tell, especially if I hold up the bottom of my arm, I'm pale. I'm very fair skinned, and therefore bronzers can be very much of a challenge. So when it comes to this video, I always want to like include 5 things that don't work as well for me and 5 things that I really, really enjoy and love. But here's the thing, right? With this category, bronzers, if you're as fair as I am, you actually need to ask yourself the question whether you even need bronzer. Whether it's something you even want to do. Because I definitely think there is something to say for someone with my complexion who doesn't really tan at all. Like, if I want a tan, I need to go out in the sun, be sunburned. Like, if I just go out and live my life, I get like maybe a little bit of a glow, but I don't really get a tan. It's never worked for me my entire life. I go lobster red if I sit out in the sun and I don't wear sunscreen, and then I have a little bit of a color change, but only then. And I don't want to go through the pain and effort and like all of the risks that go with that for me to even like get anything that might resemble a tan. I wanted to when I was a kid or like younger, because all of my friends were doing it, so I definitely went through some of those painful experiences at the time, or when I just wasn't wearing a lot of sunscreen yet. But nowadays, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be consistently pale than be super duper bronze up. The only reason why I like a little bit of bronzer is because I feel it brings my makeup together a little bit better. That's the only reason why I wear it. Not because I'm like trying to like look more tan or whatever other reason you might have to wear a bronzer. My tip to finding your best bronzer, if you are fair-skinned like me, is to look into shades that other people might wear as contours. You'll see that one of my favorites is actually a contour stick. Ever since I've realized that for myself, that things that work as contours is on other people, and that those things work on me as a bronzer, even if a lot of people with warm skin tones or brands will say, this is a contour, this is a cool tone shade, it has gray in. And then I try it, I'm like, no, it looks warm toned. So for me, that has been like the life hack of a century. So do with that what you wish, but I don't think you necessarily need bronzer. I think it's a step you can skip. So when it goes to buy this, not that, in terms of like makeup in general, I think there are quite a few people actually who could just do without it. You don't need a bronzer if you don't want to. I like it myself, but in terms of shade ranges, it can be a struggle. So let's get to the struggling bus point first. And the first one I need to show you is the NYX Buttermelt bronzer. I have mine in All Butted Up, which is shade number 2, because shade 1 looks straight up yellow. This has a little bit of pink. So even though this is too deep for me, like it's too dark. So I need to go in with a super light hand to make this work, which is why I use a stippling brush to apply bronzer. Because if I use anything else but a stippling brush, it's way too much and overpowering and I look crazy. I went with this shade. It works really well for me, but this is something that I have been finding, and it's going to be like, I'm going to sound like a broken record in a second, because that's something that I have found with a lot of bronzer ranges, is that the lightest shade is either not light enough for me, or that is a shade that doesn't work. So what I tend to go for in a bronzer nowadays is that I look for undertone, and if it has a bit of pink or a little bit of gray, that's what I tend to reach for nowadays. However, there used to be a point in time where I really liked something that had a bit of yellow in, because I am neutral to cool rather than cool to neutral. Like, I do have a cool or pinky undertone for a lot of things, and that's why cool tones work on me. But I do have a little bit of this like neutrally vibe to it, especially with my hair color and my eye color, so I can get away with warm tones as a result. So that's why for a very long time, something like the Rare Beauty in Power Boost, which is actually quite yellow toned compared to everything I'm sharing with you today, does work for me. I still love this product. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great cream bronzer, but it is very yellow toned. So if you have a cool undertone, this is a shade that's definitely not gonna work. And what's on my face today instead of bronzer is the Rare Beauty Contour. I'm testing it out. It's the liquid, you know, the soft pinch line, very similar to the blushes, and they released contour shades. That's what the brand calls them. Everybody was mad about the lightest shade, Gentle, not being cool toned enough for a lot of people. It wasn't gray tone enough. I took one look at that product and was like, that's going to be a bronzer for me. So based on everyone's negative reviews, I just knew that it was going to be the perfect liquid bronzer for me. And so far, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So that's an honorable mention here, but because I'm still in the midst of reviewing it, I didn't want to put it in the video yet. But this is a really pretty shade. I do like Power Boost still till this day, but I'm really sensing myself veering away from these yellow tone bronzers towards more pinky toned and more gray tone leaning things. So one of the reasons why I sometimes struggle to find bronzers is even if they do a really nice shade, like this one from Kiko, this is the Radiant Touch bronzer in 101. This is nice, this is good. It is a touch too dark for me, and it is a little bit more orange than I would like. The season that I can get away with this is the summertime. But I want my bronzers to work year round. I don't want to have to faff around with, does this work for me in the summertime? Does this work for me in the wintertime? In the wintertime, this is way too much. This is way too much, but I have just recently found out that they discontinued my favorite shade in the Flawless Fusion bronzer. They no longer do it, which is a shame. But that one in shade 1 has been a great bronzer for me in the wintertime, and it has been a favorite for years. But yeah, that's definitely going on there. I really enjoy the Cloud Paint in Swept from Glossier. This is their bronzer shades. Again, here as well, I swatched them in store. The lightest shade was too yellow toned for me. This was a bit more neutral, and I have just found that with a bronzer, especially if it's a liquid, just use less. Use less and you'll be able to tone down the shade, but if it's the right undertone, it's going to be a lot easier for you to blend than when you go for something that depth-wise might work, but that doesn't have the right undertone. An undertone is far more difficult to correct than how deep or light a shade is. You can always apply more if the shade doesn't work for you because it is too light. You can always apply more. It's far more difficult to take something away. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Sometimes going up a shade and just shearing it out more is actually the way to go for me as well. But that's why these aren't perfect. And next up is my Pat McGrath bronzer. I ended up going with Naked Desire because this is very, very light. Like, you can see I like this, but this is, again, a little bit more yellow toned. I can wear it year round, but that's just something that I have been finding with a lot of makeup brands. Is just when it comes to bronzers, they don't know how to do bronzers for fair skin. They just don't. They just don't. Bronzers were created for people with medium warm toned skin, I feel, and nobody else. So that's why so many brands struggle. Like I said, all of these things still work. I still like all of these. I still rate them very highly. It's why they're still in my collection. But in terms of being perfect, and that I would say, run out and go get this, that's what the next category is for. So I'm not going to leave you waiting any longer, because that favorite product that is officially a contour that I really love is this guy. This is the Kiko Milano Sculpting Touch Creamy Stick Contour in shade 200. This is what, that's not a contour, especially not on me. But as a bronzing stick, life-changing. Some people were recommending to me that I should do that. I bought it based off of your recommendations, and I've been loving it ever since. The Kiko Milano creamy contour sticks are really good, but not as contours. They have extended the shade range though, so I know they used to do 2 shades. I think it now comes in 4 and 5, so that's better now. But yeah, 200 has been great for me as a bronzer. And then what do I mean with looking for things that are a little bit more gray toned? Catrice came out with this, the Melted Sun Liquid Bronzer. I bought 10 lines, which is shade 005. And I'm going to take it out so you can hopefully see how gray this is. Like, going onto the skin, at first you're like, whoa, that's far too gray toned. This is probably going to be really good for people with warm toned skin to use as a contour shade. I think it's going to work a lot better for that, as that for a lot of people. I don't really like to contour. I just like to warm up the perimeter of my face, and that's it. I feel that once this shears out, that's where it truly shines. It has this hint of glow to it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely pennies at the drugstore. It's really, really lovely. I do really enjoy that. I think the best bronzer for light skin, and I'm gonna say it again, I mean, I talked about this brand a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, and I feel that Fenty Beauty, in terms of shade range, gets so many things right. They were, of course, the originator of having a very inclusive shade range, and I feel they've done that with a lot of their products consistently in the makeup line. And look what happened the last time I scraped this down. Yes, we have hit pan on the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzer. That's what this product is called, in the sun. They also do cream products where I accidentally bought Amber, and that was pretty, but I didn't love that shade on me. So this works really well. It's sort of like very neutral leaning. It's not too yellow, not too gray, not too brown. It's excellent, actually. And I'm really happy that I finally have pan on this, because I knew I was close. The only downside to this is that it hard pans so easily. You use it 2 times and you need to scrape it down again. So this product becomes unusable very quickly. But yeah, I feel like I've almost scraped down more of the products than I've actually used. But it has also been going strong in my makeup collection for years. So I'm sort of still on the fence whether I would repurchase this if it's gone, because I could potentially still buy this if I want to. But yeah, this is beautiful. I really enjoy it. Not sure whether it's going to be worth a repurchase, but it has been a holy grail and something that I really haven't minded sticking to be hitting pan on, because sometimes I get sick of products before I ever hit pan on them, but with that one, I haven't been. This one from Dior. I'm not sure if they still do it, because Dior has been reformulating things, so I'm not sure if this is still around, but this is the Dior Forever Natural Bronzer in Tan Bronze 04. Again, something I picked up in store because I wanted to swatch these. I believe it came in 8 shades, and you might think, shade 4, mica, that's going to be far too dark. Well, I swatched lipsticks just before this. But you can see that's a good shade depth-wise for me. But what makes this so nice is that it has a slight pink undertone. It has that pinkiness running through it. So I swatched a lot of the light shades that I thought might work for me. A lot of them were super yellow. Save for this is a bit more neutral leaning. It has a slight hint of pink, and that's why I love the Dior one so much. It works beautifully on the skin. And finally, of course, I cannot stop raving about my Soap & Glory Solar Powder Bronzer in the shade Light. This is a dual tone bronzer. I hit pan on this in the past. It got a little bit difficult to pick up, so that's why I decluttered it before I ever used it up completely. And then they re-released it last year, and I was like the happiest person on the planet. It's got 2 shades, and together they really make the perfect bronzer for me. I also have my Becca Sunlit Bronzer in my Shop My Stash at the minute, and I feel that this one gives me the same look, feel, texture-wise. It's exactly the same as the Becca, so I'm really glad that I have this in my life, because I hit pan on my Becca bronzer last year, and we all know what happened to Becca. They went defunct, and even though Smashbox now sells a couple of the Becca products, the bronzers didn't come back in the Smashbox range, so I'm really glad to now have that Soap & Glory one. So yeah, those were the bronzers where I'm like, yes, these are perfect for me. Like I said, all of these work on me in some degree, but I just wanted to also make this video as sort of like a reminder that just because something is the lightest shade, it's not always going to be the best one for you. Swatch things if you can, check for undertones, because that is what's going to give you the most success when it comes to picking products in general, and I feel with bronzers especially. I didn't swatch any of these because I actually will be linking you to a video that I did before in February. I swatched all of my bronzers last February. So I'm gonna just refer you to that, because that also includes some of the bronzers that really didn't work for me, because I did that before I decluttered. You can have a look at that, and then you can really see all those undertones and things that I was talking about, because I'm swatching them all side by side, and you can really see that difference. Plus, I have reviews up with all of these products over on the blog as well. So if you want to see them on my skin, that's another thing as well, because a finger swatch only says so much. I feel that once products go onto the face, that's when it truly shines. But my skin would hate me if I sat here swatching 10 different bronzers for you guys on my face. It wouldn't work. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me this video today. Let me know in a comment down below what you look for in a bronzer. I would love to know. Yeah, if you have a favorite bronzer, then I'm curious, because maybe it's something I haven't tried yet. Maybe it's something I have tried and that I decluttered because it wasn't quite right for me. Who knows? But yeah, thanks so much for being here. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more by me. And then I really hope you have a very, very lovely day. Check back for more, and then I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.